Today I'm going to be giving you 5 tips to improve your shimmies. So shimmies are one of the most important moves in belly dance. There are a ton of different techniques we use for shimmies from style to style and dancer to dancer. But even though it's such a common movement, it is also one of the movements that I see people struggling the most with. So for some reason, it's really hard for people to master this move, but once you do, it really improves all of your dance, and it's a really important element to have in your repertoire as a belly dancer. So we're going to start with self-awareness. This is going to be one of the most important things, and it's going to be a theme that repeats through the rest of the exercises that I have to give you, the tips. So self-awareness is really important because you don't want to be just randomly shaking and moving your body. You want to first identify the parts of your body that are working to create your shimmy and being aware of what kind of shimmy you want to create. Do you want a full body shimmy? Do you want a hip shimmy? Do you want a vibration? Because depending on the style of shimmy, the technique and the usage of parts of the body is going to completely change. So that brings me to my next tip. You have to be aware of your stance. This is one of the first and most important elements of creating a shimmy because the way the legs and the pelvis are positioned is going to totally change the way that the hips move and that the muscles react to the movement that's happening. So you want to be aware if you're in a turnout, in a parallel, if your pelvis is rotated back, if your pelvis is rotated forward. All of these micro differences are going to really change the shimmy that you have. And sometimes the key to getting the shimmy to where you want it to be is just going to be tiny adjustments of those positions in the body. The next thing we want to pay attention to is going to be strength. So once you're able to identify the kind of shimmy you want to do, and you identify the muscles that are going to be working and the position that the body should be in, you want to make sure you're strong enough to do the technique that you want to do. So once you've zoned in on the muscles that are going to be working during the shimmy, then you should take some steps and some time to train those muscles and make them as strong as possible. This is going to help with the next really important aspect of shimmies, which is stamina. So we want to make sure that our muscles are strong enough to sustain a nice speed of shimmy with controlled good technique for a long time. So sometimes stamina involves adding extra things into your dance practice, like making sure you're practicing your shimmies for a really long time so you work up that consistency and strengthen your legs. Or it could even mean cross-training and doing some kind of cardiovascular activities like elliptical trainer or some bike just to build up some stamina in your legs. Now, the last tip and the last important thing to work on for shimmies is going to be, of course, speed. This slightly depends on what kind of technique you're using for your shimmy, but with most shimmies, we do want to be able to get up to a pretty fast speed with them. And for this, I would suggest making sure you're practicing at a slow pace first, no matter what technique your shimmy is in. Making sure you're starting from a slow, very controlled movement where you can practice perfect technique and even movement side to side. Because a lot of us have one side that's a little more dominant than the other. So one thing that can definitely impede the speed of the shimmies is a little bit of unevenness in the body. And when we have unevenness, it's going to slow us down a little bit. So the best thing you can do is start slow and slowly work your way up to a full speed shimmy. So when you practice, try to remember these 5 steps. Self-awareness, and we have strength, stance, stamina, and speed. Try and consider all of these factors when you practice your shimmies, and try to add some of these cross-training exercises to get up to the technique that you want.